Hey there, good morning, happy Thursday. It's Read Aloud time, spring according to Humphrey. We are about to start chapter 11. Wow, we're pretty far. We're actually on page 97. Um, let's see. Well, just Joey was about to share his tadpoles, and everybody just couldn't wait to see. And that's where our chapter ended, which we had said, I can't wait, they're making us wait until chapter 11. So let's read and see what they're like. Chapter 11, Uncle Og. Joey had a huge grin as he walked over to our table and stood next to the aquarium. It's not easy to take care of tadpoles, he said, but I followed all of the directions and... He pulled the cloth off the tank. They have little legs now, and if you look closely, you can see their heads are changing. Joey looked so proud I thought he'd burst. The rest of our classmates jumped out of their seats and rushed toward the aquarium. Mrs. Brisbane got them to line up and calm down. Og, however, didn't calm down one bit. Boing, 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 he twanged as he jumped up and down. I have never seen him so excited. Somehow, our teacher made sure my friends looked at the tank one by one. Fantastic, Thomas said. Ooh, see those bumps? Rosie said. I think that's the beginning of their arms. Every single classmate said that the tadpoles were the most amazing, spectacular, wonderful, awesome things they'd ever seen in their lives. Really? Hadn't they seen me leap onto my wheel and leap off again without falling? Hadn't they seen me swing across the top of my cage? Of course, they hadn't seen my adventures outside of my cage, but if they had, they'd think I was amazing and wonderful too, not to mention the fact that I can read and write. Growing legs and bumpy arms? That took no work at all. Cassie wasn't quite as excited as the other students. That's very interesting, she said, but have you ever seen birds build a nest? I haven't, Mrs. Brisbane said, but I'd like to. Thanks for sharing your pictures with us. Yes, thanks, Cassie, helpful Holly said. I'd love to see the baby birds hatch. Cassie invited Holly over to her house, and I could tell she felt a lot better. I would have liked to see the baby birds hatch too. I'd been a little upset with Mrs. Brisbane for making us wait for the unveiling of the tadpoles, but I was happy, happy, happy when she let the students take time to watch them. Not that they did much, but they didn't look like specks anymore, and that was interesting to everyone. I think it was especially interesting to Og. Boing, boing, he said. Then he jumped into the water to do some serious splashing. After that, he went back to his rock and looked over at the aquarium. Boing, 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 he exclaimed in a very loud voice. I think Og likes them, Nicole said. I wasn't so sure about that. Maybe he remembers being a tadpole too, Harry said. We should name them, Thomas suggested. How about Tad and Pole? Some of my friends groaned at the idea. Then Simon said, we should call Og Uncle. Everybody loved that idea, except maybe me. Uncle Og? Uncle Og, they repeated. Boing, boing, Og joined in. I was unsqueakably relieved when it was time for lunch and my friends had to leave the classroom. I needed a break. Besides, I hadn't had a chance to get a good look at the tadpoles myself. Once the room was quiet, which it hadn't been all morning, I moved to the side of my cage closest to the aquarium and looked. The specks were bigger, and yes, they actually did have legs. They had round things that looked a little bit like heads if you used your imagination. Luckily, I have a good imagination. Then I looked across the aquarium to see Og. Og had a huge head. He was green. He had strong legs. The tadpoles didn't look anything like him. So why were my friends calling him Uncle Og? If he was the tadpole's uncle, was I their uncle too? Just because he was a frog, did that mean they were in the same family? And where was my family anyway? So, what do you think, Og? I squeaked. Do you like the tadpoles? He was completely silent, so I kept talking. I can't believe how much they changed. No answer. Do you remember being a tadpole? I asked. Boing! Og's voice boomed. I'm not sure, but I think maybe he didn't remember. I don't remember being a baby hamster either, I said. At least, I don't think I do. After that, Og didn't make any more noise at all. I wondered if he dozed off. You can never tell with a frog. Later that afternoon, Mrs. Brisbane told the class that she had an idea for family fun night. Since we have animals in our classroom, I thought we could have fun doing animal activities for the circus, she explained. Helpful Holly waved her hand. Ooh, I saw a lady in a pink dress standing on the back of a horse at a circus, and they were going round and round the ring really fast. Well, I don't think we'll be doing that, Mrs. Brisbane chuckled. Mrs. Wright would not approve of horses racing around the gym. We all laughed at the thought of that. I was thinking that we could have activities that have to do with hamsters and frogs, she said. Calm down, Cassie waved her hand. We made a hamster maze in the after-school program. We could set up a maze like an obstacle course, and people could buy a ticket to run through it, Harry suggested. We could time them. If they beat the clock, they get a prize. Mrs. Brisbane nodded. I like that idea, Harry. Kelsey's hand shot up. Ooh, we could have the parents and their kids do a leapfrog race. The thought of my friends' parents leaping around like frogs was unsqueakably funny to me. Boing, boing! I guess Og liked that idea. And I thought we could have some of you take turns as ringmaster or ring mistress to draw people in, Mrs. Brisbane said. I want to do that, Rosie said. Great. Let's take a vote, Mrs. Brisbane said. Who would like room 26 to sign up to do animal acts? Every single hand shot up. I raised my paw. Og said, boing. I don't think he can actually raise one leg at a time. Sophie asked, can Humphrey and Og be in the gym too? And the tadpoles? Mrs. Brisbane said, Mrs. Wright won't like that, but I think Mr. Morales will. And after all, he is her boss. I'll see what I can do. That's a great place for us to stop, kind of in the middle of chapter 11. I think they have a great plan for family circus night, don't you? All right, you guys, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.